Hello, my name is Barry Ward, and you are watching the Odessa International Film Festival. I never really decided to pursue an acting career. I was what's called street cast as a 13-year-old boy to star in a TV drama, a BBC four-part drama directed by Michael Winterbottom. And I did that job and got an agent, and I've been doing it since. So I just kind of fell into it. I mean, my good friend and brilliant actor Tom Von Lawler, I think he put it well when he said it's a question of kind of scale, and when you're acting on stage, you need to be seen and heard by the person in the furthest row, and on screen it's much more contained, and everything needs to be smaller. It's like a question of magnification. I've always preferred screen acting than stage. It requires a very different physicality and a very different fitness, and both have their challenges and their merits. And you know, ideally, I think for a lot of actors, they'd like to be able to juggle the two and continue to work in both mediums. That's a good question, and I think I'm always trying and testing new methods, and I think with every new role, it requires a new approach or a new method, and I'm always trying to mix it up, and I read quite a lot of texts on acting and try and apply different theories to my approach. But it always starts with reading for me. I always try and read as much about the subject as possible and about the context of when the story is being told to get a good overview. You know, I use music. You might try out different physical things, physical gestures and stuff. It's, slow and piecemeal, and you're always kind of adding bits and maybe taking some away, and then when it comes to actually arriving on set to do the job, you try and forget about all that stuff and trust that it's there, and then you're just really concentrating on the scene and the other actors. Yeah. But it's a never-ending learning process. I think that's a brilliant question. And sometimes that connection between actor and director it often goes unexplored and unspoken. I think for an actor, it's always good communication is key, and as an actor, it's good to always communicate with the director, and a level of trust really helps. And I don't believe in a stupid question. I don't think there exists stupid questions. Ask them up. Just keep asking questions, no matter how dumb they may feel. Because it's always interesting how sometimes you may find you're on a different page to the director, or the director's idea is so far removed from your own interpretation. So it's always good to keep communicating and talk through it. And so that's from an actor's perspective. Yeah, keep asking questions, keep firing questions, and make suggestions if you have them. And they're not all gonna stick. Some may be not useful at all, but if you just continually throw stuff at it, I think it can make for a better performance and give you a greater sense of kind of knowing what you're doing. And for me, it always just gives more food for thought. It's always, I think, very important for me to have a lot to think about when I'm doing a scene. I think that's vital. For directors working with actors, I'd recommend reading some Judith Weston books. She's a brilliant teacher of directing, but her books are also extremely useful for actors. and in it she kind of advises directors to have a lot of ideas and alternative ideas and opposites. It's always useful if you have an idea about a scene to consider the opposite. If only as an exercise in showing you where your thinking process is at, but also just on the day if you need to, if a scene is getting stale and you need to freshen it up, it's good to have we could say a curveball. You throw a curveball at it, just try and mix it up a bit, and yeah, have a lot of alternative ideas on each line and each action in the scene and each circumstance. You know, it just brings it all alive, I think, and gives you choices in the edit. And also I think it's very useful for directors to take a course in acting, do a little course in acting. It's really useful for directors. Urinating into an ocean at 4 a.m. naked was an experience. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Being dragged through the woods almost entirely naked, dead, was an amazing experience in a forest in Northern Ireland where it was cold and wet and mucky and disorientating. That's I've never felt more alive. Persevere. There's going to be a lot of rejections and knockbacks, and you just have to persevere. You know, anybody who's ever done well, it's pretty it's obvious, but they didn't quit. You know, so you got to most of the job is about showing up. Well, it was originally like Channel 4, and they had some co-producers, so it screened on Channel 4 first and then went to Netflix. But it was an amazing experience. It was one of the rare jobs that when I was doing it, I knew it was going to be a great series. The scripts were so strong and the cast was so good. And the style and aesthetic of it was so interesting that I kind of knew. I thought this is going to be really good and people are going to really love this. And I mean, I was lucky. I came in and I only did 2 weeks on it. So I feel like I can watch it and judge it objectively. I don't feel like I'm an integral part of it. And I'm a fan of it. I think it's great, and it was a joy to do because you were working with such great material, and it was a very young cast and crew. So I had a great energy. I mean, I was one of the oldest on set, which is rare because I'm used to being the baby. It was an amazing experience, yeah, and I'm really proud of the show. Is it popular here in Ukraine?
Well, yeah, all my friends watched it.
Yeah, amazing.